platters within that. And so think of the platters as kind of like I was going to say a record player, but who am I kidding?
Smoke gets in your eyes.
Yeah,
that was a record by the platters.
Those kids, no, please. The kids, I'm saying the kids are not going to know if I say record player. Think of a CD player that can hold several CDs. They still make CDs, right? I haven't listened to one in ages.
Okay. Another thing to mention, if you want to take apart a hard drive to look at this, do it with a drive that you are no longer ever going to use for anything.
Yeah, because it'll ruin it.
Because it will ruin it. But if you take apart a hard drive that is busted and will no longer be used for anything, you will see that there are silver platters in there. In some cases, there are multiple platters.
Right. Like that's what I was mentioning. They're
stacked.
Yeah, and on each stack, there's going to be a little arm that will have the device that reads and writes data to those disks. Now, here's the difference between the platters and, say, the cassette medium. The device that reads and writes data does not actually make contact with the disk.
You do not want that to happen.
No, if you hear a clicking noise from your hard drive, that probably means that the arm, the read-write arm, is actually making contact with the platter, which means it's damaging your hard drive, and you should stop using it and get it repaired as soon as you can, because otherwise what's going to happen is it's going to corrupt the data on that disk, or it's going to ruin the hard drive, and you won't be able to access that information.
Right. That's called a hard drive crash.
Yeah, and it's bad.
Head crash.
Yeah. So anyway, each one of the platters has one of these arms, or sometimes multiple arms, more than one. And the arms can move toward the center and toward the edge of the disk dozens of times per second to try and find the data. And the data is stored. If you were to look at a platter and you were to be able to see the way data is stored, like you somehow were able to don magic glasses, and you looked at the platter and like, oh, look at that, you would see that the information is organized within concentric circles from the edge of the platter all the way to the center. So
right.
You just think of those concentric circles. Now, those are tracks. They would also be organized in wedges, so sort of like a pie. And
pie is back.
Those wedges are sectors.
Yes.
So data is always going to be found within a track and a sector, and the computer has to keep track of which sectors and tracks have the data where. You know, that's when your computer is searching for stuff, it's going through all the different sectors and tracks trying to find the correct information.
Right.
And each track within the sector can only hold a certain amount of data. It's not like you could say, like, well, I've got this 2 gigabyte file, I want it all to be stored right here on this part of this platter. That's not the way it works.
Good luck.
Yeah. It's going to break that up, that file up into segments, and store it on various tracks in various sectors. And it's not even necessarily going to be on the same platter.
Yeah.
It could be across several platters, depending upon how your data is stored. And as this happens, as you go on filling up a hard drive, these files can get more and more fragmented because there are fewer sectors that have an uninterrupted, series that you could store all the information right there, so it's all within the same general area. That's why you want to defrag your hard drive every now and then.
Yeah, the more fragmented your data get, it makes it that much more difficult for your computer to find all the pieces of the file, and that's when you slow down your computing time. So it's a good idea to keep everything nicely organized so that it speeds you up and makes it a little less frustrating to use your computer on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I made this comparison in a previous podcast, so you might remember it. But think of your data. Think of a hard drive as like a multi-story building, and